Hello, citizens of YouTube land.
Hey.
What you're about to watch is our big video that we promised, and it's going to be the footage that we captured at the Pea Ridge Civil War National Battleground Park, and some of it we didn't get a chance to do very much of because of the museum. We can give you some final thoughts on what we experienced and saw in the museum in the epilogue. But for now...
And some other cool stuff that we learned as well.
And for now, yeah, guys, just enjoy the footage of what we saw at the battleground. And
so, warning, this video, if you don't like sadness or how you would describe the feeling of sadness, of heavy sadness, don't watch the video. Or if you do, skip past the parts that we talk about that maybe have heavy sadness.
Yeah, guys, because it is a heavy-handed subject. We do have to talk there. We are talking about the topic of slavery, of course, and the Confederacy. So some of these issues revolving those two subjects could be a bit on the heavy-handed side for some people. So if you don't want to watch, you don't have to. But if you do, please enjoy what we put together for you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys in the epilogue. Until then, see you then.
I'm ready.
Go.
Okay, citizens of YouTube land, I know we were going to do this again when we got back home, but we came across
Pea Ridge National Battlefield, guys.
On our way back home, and we just had to stop. Guys, I'll tell you this right away. If you're ever up here and you're ever in the NWA area, you want to check out the Pea Ridge National Battlefield. They have done a tremendous job. The museum is top-notch. And now, guys,
this is, be prepared, because a lot of you probably don't know this, but this here is the exact route that the Cherokee Indians took on during the Trail of Tears.
And we are going to go in just a little bit here and see about it. We don't want to go too far up in here because it's preserved exactly how it was 160 years ago.
Here it is, guys.
See? And they even have signs along the way where they would have been taken. Okay? Where they would have been sent to Fort Cass in Charleston, or either they would have been sent off to Woodhull's Depot in Westville, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, guys, for just a minute, having to walk this entire trail here?
And it's like the dead of winter.
60 miles on this trail.
The exact route.
We're not going to go too far up in here because we don't want to disturb or destroy any of this either. But yeah, unbelievable, guys.
This is, like I said, I'm already feeling a heavy sadness just walking on it. The exact trail that they took. Just, you can feel the sadness. Alright, I think it's time to go now.
He feels the fear of a bug.
Yep, that bug is telling me that bug was a sign, guys, to tell me to go back.
But on a serious
note, yeah.
There's a lot of hurt, a lot of sadness, a lot of pain, a lot of loss of life here on this historical spot.
Yeah, but on a serious note, guys, like, I could even feel just walking down that, I could feel the sadness in the air. Like, It's just one of those types of...
Now, mind you, the Trail of Tears is from 1838 when that happened. And the Civil War didn't start until 1861. So, you had 23, 24 years thereabouts, somewhere in there, of this being here before they finally got to the Civil War itself.
Yeah. And here is a plaque that shows you guys of pretty much everything that happened from the Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end it right here because I gotta...
As successful sovereign nations, proudly preserving cultural tradition while adapting to the challenges of the 21st century. And it was a horrible, horrible thing, guys, because it says that in 1830s, the federal government forcibly removed approximately 16,000 Cherokee, 21,000 Muskogee, 9,000 Choctaw, 6,000 Chickasaw, and 4,000 Seminoles.
And look, right here. This is this is from Charleston, Tennessee, the one that we just saw, all the way here, guys.
But it might have been this one here that went up.
Fort Payne? Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So it looks like it wasn't just one single trail, guys. There was 3 different ones that they used.
Yeah. So we'll see you in the next segment.
Known as the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, that's the Cherokee even call it the trail in which they cried, which is why it's not known as the Trail of Tears. Anyways, we'll see you in the next little bit here of where that was, the next stop.
Alright guys, we're back and we are at the spot called Leetown. This is where both sides, the Confederates and the Union... Yeah, go ahead and turn our car off. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to turn the car off because we're going to go down that trail over there. It's basically where both sides of the Union and the Confederate fought for a bit. And
well, now Leetown is where they took their wounded and sick to. Both sides, Confederate and the Union.
Yeah. So, let's go. I don't know if this is going to be as heavy as the Trail of Tears was, guys. So, because when you were walking down the Trail of Tears, you could definitely feel the heaviness of it.
Actually, I do feel it.
You do?
How can you not when you're realizing that this is the path that all the sick and the wounded and the dying are coming. Truly a spectacle, though, guys.
It is. And shout out to our Federal National Park Service for preserving the battlefield.
Goes that way for us.
The
small hamlet near here included 2 stores, a blacksmith shop, a Masonic lodge, a church, school, and several residences. During the fighting, some of the buildings were used by the Union Army as hospitals.
I think that's going, I think it's up that way. That's where it's at. And the next stop...
and the birds chirping add to the eeriness of it, too, guys.
It really does, actually.
And the overgrown growth. I mean, this feels kind of haunting in itself.
Yeah.
The forest trying to reclaim it.
It's very eerie, guys, actually, to be on the same trail where the sick and the wounded from both sides of the battle went.
So yeah, if you're hearing the insects and the birds chirping, yeah. So this itself, I imagine this field here was where the town itself was located at.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Leetown, Hamlet site.
So, yeah.
This is where the town would have been, guys.
So 160 plus years ago. Now imagine, if you will, church, Masonic Lodge, general store, all that here.
Residential areas. All this was here, used as a hospital, you know.
All devastated within the blink of an eye.
Due to Pea
because
Ridge.
of war. So we're going to head on back now, guys.
And check out the battlefield that was outside of Leland.
We hope that this is going to be for a really great video for you guys. Might even, I don't know how we.
This may be a separate video than the Rogers one.
Could be. We can break it up a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys then.
See you guys on the next stop, though.
Yep. Go.
We are back, guys, at stop number 4. And this place here, you get a big shot of this open field here. This is the battle for Leetown itself, right here.
All the way over there, guys.
You can see
our
the
cannons
in the distance, and here is the plaque. One of them. This says, "Save the cannon, like maddened hornets. Confederate infantry boiled out of Morgan's Woods, crossed Leetown Road, and swarmed toward the 6 federal cannon that had unlimbered in this corner of Overson's cornfield. Captain William Black stood in front of the cannon and fired his Colt repeating rifle to single-handedly delay the fierce assault until he fell wounded. Black bought the artilleryman time to save 4 of the 6 guns from being captured. These are the 6 actual cannons that were used, that they were fighting over right here. I saw 2 rebel officers rush toward Captain Black with drawn swords and demand his surrender. He struck the nearest with his sword, and leaping over his prostrate form with the agility of a tiger, he struck the other full in the face with his already emptied revolver, and he fell like a stone.
Wow. You could say this guy
this man was only 19 years old.
Wow. And he received the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Black survived the war and practiced law in Chicago.
Wow. I'm going to stop filming here, Dad, because there's a car, so.
When you are.
Go.
And we're back, guys, at yet another stop along the tour. This here is the West Overlook, and we have a nice little plaque here. I'll read it off to you guys. It says,
"There's the battlefield right there in the distance, guys.
Long, cold, hungry march. I don't believe they ever made a harder march during the Revolution than we made last night. Jack Bauer, Private, and Missouri Regiment. The 16,000-strong Confederate Army of the West spent most of the first week of March 1862 trudging on muddy roads through northwest Arkansas. They traveled some 60 miles from their winter camps deep in the Boston Mountains.
Hey, I know where the Boston Mountains are.
The low ridges you see in the distance to get to Pea Ridge. General Earl Van Dorn pushed his troops hard to sweep completely around his opponent using a back road called the Bentonville Detour. Van Dorn gambled that if he could capture the Telegraph Road, the only pipeline for Union supplies and communications, he could crush the Union Army. The mountain on which you are standing hid the Confederates' approach to the battle highway."
Wow. Ages ago, this was a plateau Long erosions left the hill and ridge capped with resistant sandstone that became landmarks of the battlefield.
You can look out over and see the battle itself where it took place. And I imagine those are the Boston Mountains in the background there, and they came from that direction.
Yeah, they're on the horizon.
Mm-hmm. Because in case you guys didn't know, we live in the Ozarks, and this is Ozark Mountain country.
Yep, these ridges here is where they would have been going towards the battlefield over there to surprise Union,
And we'll
take
see
out
you
the
guys
Confederates.
on the next stop.
Yep. Now go.
Alright guys, we are back. Excuse the car horn in the distance here. We're talking, we're going to be visiting Elkhorn Tavern now, where the majority of the battle actually took place. I don't think we can actually film up in here. We respect park rangers and whatnot, so we're going to have to let this be, and we'll give you guys a little update on what we see when we get done with this, okay?
Alright.
Alright, see you. We are back
Wait.
once again. We
Now
did
go.
a little segment at Elkhorn, at the beginning entrance of Elkhorn Tavern. And before we go on up over here, where it's located at, over here in the distance,
this entire field you see here is where they fought.
Where we are standing is where thousands and thousands of soldiers fought, bled, and died.
This entire field, back in 1862,
Yep.
where the battle took place, would have been filled with blood.
Alright guys.
It's heavy. I gotta get out now. you just, when you understand this is the actual battlefield, you just gotta get out.
I was telling the VP, he wants to talk about hauntings and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is the place.
Alright guys, and this is the building they were fighting over. Elkhorn Tavern. So we will see you guys after we get out. Now go.
Okay guys, we are back once again. We are on stop number 9 here. This is the spot marked Confederate Sunset. Says, as the sun set on the first day of battle, about 3,000 rebels from Missouri made their final charge here. Crossing Ben Ruddock's stubbled cornfield, they ran straight toward the muzzles of Federal cannons set wheel hub to wheel hub against a line of trees. After hours of fighting withdrawals, this last Union line held firm. Rebuffed Confederates ebbed back to Elkhorn Tavern. In the dusk, men of both armies feared they were standing on the brink of collapse.
Yep.
So this field here,
1862.
okay, and as the Confederates were pushed back, they would have been pushed back along these tree line, back up to Elkhorn Tavern, which we just came from.
Yep. And then there's the Union cannons over there that they were trying to take.
It was almost dark, and we got so near the Federal battery that the fire from their guns would pass in jetting streams through our lines. Asa Payne, Private 3rd Missouri Regiment.
Yeah. There's another plaque over there, Dad.
Yeah, well, we don't have to get that one.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on the last and final stop.
Yep. Go.
Alright guys, and we're back for our final stop on this here driving tour that we've taken you on the Pea Ridge National Battlefield. And this is the Federal line. And says, that beautiful charge I shall never forget, with banners streaming, with drums beating, and our long line of blue coats advancing upon the double quick, with their deadly bayonets gleaming in the sunlight, and every man, an officer, yelling at the top of his lungs. UGB Payne, Illinois Infantry Regiment. When the bugle sounded the charge at 10 a.m., standing here were 10,000 Union men, an entire army visible from one place. During the Civil War, such a sight was so rare but its terrifying grandeur seared itself into the memory of every man present.
This line that you see here stretched for a mile, filled with Union soldiers.
That disheveled sergeant, I saw General Sigel sight one piece and send a shot at the rebel guns that had driven us back. It went tearing in among the men and horses, killing and wounding both, and then exploded in one of the caissons. Placing his glass to his eye to note the effect of his shot, the general said, "Dat dispatch, Sergeant, just put him right in there." General Franz Sigel ordered the Union gunners positioned here to concentrate on first one Confederate target, then another. 2 hours of methodical, massed cannon fire shattered enemy lines and morale. Pea Ridge marked the first time this practice was used effectively in a Civil War battle.
Nice. So basically, artillery beratement.
Yeah, and basically it was a concentrated effort where they focused all their fire on one specific target, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, until the Confederate line fell.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's how Pea Ridge
That
is won.
marks the turning point for the battle for Missouri, and basically because of this battle here put North Arkansas and all of Missouri in Union hands.
Yep, because basically after this battle, the Confederate troops had to retreat back, and they were met with federal resistance in West Plains, Missouri, actually, and that is where basically the Confederacy fell to
Now,
Union
guys, we're
hands
going to do a
in
sequel
Missouri.
video to this one, and it will be Wilson's Creek, where we're going to explore aspects that led up to a Confederate victory.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys then. And just remember that we love you. So, Dad.
Peace out.
Peace and love from Danny and Son. Bye.
Hello once again, citizens of YouTube land. Excuse me. It's your president and your VP, and we're back at the end of this video, and let's talk about what we experienced there at the Pea Ridge National Battleground. State park. Well, not state park. It's actually a federal park.
Yeah, it's even bigger. It's a federal park, guys.
It was established in the 1950s
after the state of Arkansas bought the battleground and then basically handed it over to the federal government.
Yeah. And so what we experienced was that when you first walk into the visitor center, they're going to ask you if it's your first time there. And, of course, it was for us. And they handed us this cool brochure. And we found out that they have a driving path, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But you go in, and there's all these cool different exhibits inside of the museum itself, and it gives a description on the battle and different quotes and even journal entries from people who experienced and lived through the battle itself. It's very, very cool. So if you get a chance to ever do it, I suggest that you definitely tour the museum first. We didn't get a chance to watch the film that was there, but maybe next time we go. And we're hoping that the guy that we talked to, because as you go through on the driving portion of it, you get to the part about Elkhorn Tavern. And at Elkhorn Tavern, they basically forced all of they forced the owners of the tavern out so that the Union soldiers could be housed there as a hospital. And he gave a bunch of cool anecdotes, and we're going to hopefully try to get an interview with him the next time we go, because it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And also, let's talk a little bit about the Trail of Tears.
Okay, so we actually went down the Trail of Tears, like part of the Trail of Tears. We actually walked
twice, actually.
Twice, yeah. So as we were entering Rogers for the concert, there's this trail or there was this train that was in the way, right?
Yeah.
It was blocking up all the traffic. And so I was like, Dad, there's a road up here, North Arkansas Street. Take that. And then he saw a sign back there that said Historical Route Trail of Tears.
Yeah, and we got to walk on the actual pathway itself there at the battleground as well. And you guys saw you saw the footage previously, and guys, it was a tremendous experience just being there in the first place. And as we said in the video, the crickets or the insects twirling in the distance.
And then the birds chirping, it kind of added to the eeriness of both the Leetown woods and the woods that the Trail of Tears was in.
Yeah.
And who knows, we might actually hike a big portion of the Trail of Tears next time because we're still a little underprepared. We're still in like our shirt and shorts basically because we were just there visiting.
Yeah,
we didn't know that we were going to visit Pea Ridge at first, but then our Google Maps took us on the highway that went right past Pea Ridge, and Pea Ridge is just right off the highway. I'm like, Dad, this is Pea Ridge. Let's go here.
Yeah, so guys, we hope that you enjoyed the video, and we'll get back to more lighthearted subjects, films that we do going forward. But guys, if you enjoyed this kind of content, let us know in the comments section because of where we live. Our next stop that we're going to try to do a video on for you guys eventually will be Wilson's Creek because it's just, about 30 miles north of where we live.
And maybe Small and Civil War Cave.
Yeah, which is also nearby. So
which is up in Ozark.
If you guys kind of enjoy what we put together for you here, let us know, and hopefully we'll do some more stuff for you.
Yeah.
So until then, guys, expect more of the films and whatnot that we've done, the TV series. We've got some other stuff planned very shortly, but we're not going to talk about that just now. So until next time, there's only one thing left to say, guys, and that, of course, is
peace and love from Denny and Son. Bye.